Hello everyone and welcome back to tomorrow's weather today. Today we have severe weather risks for Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado, and a little bit of New Mexico, and a marginal risk for um, Florida and Georgia. I will be focusing on the slight risk today in Texas. Um, Basically, scattered hail and wind will be possible today. Um, I don't think we're going to have really a tornado threat, and we will see why. But wind and hail out is our threat for today. Looking at the HRRR model, starting off at, let's go to this recent run. We can see storms ongoing um, up in Kansas and Oklahoma. If we move this ahead, storms redevelop in Oklahoma this afternoon by about 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 2, 3. And then they start to get going in Texas as well, and they become a line. And these two lines look like they might merge together at some point tonight and become an MCS, a mesoscale convective system. You can see a lot of scattered storms. Most of them not being severe, especially these in southern Texas. But these I definitely do think we need to watch for damaging wind and hail. Looking at our dew points and wind barbs, you definitely see a contrast. Definitely, probably a dry line. I'm thinking right in here, as we do have a steep drop off and a wind shift. If we go over to our surface map for today, um, we can definitely see a dry line down um, in New Mexico. We have an outflow boundary currently in Oklahoma, which may be a focus for storms. And like I said, here's our dry line, which is in Texas. By 18Z. 18Z, our dry line's down here. And then we have a boundary right here. And we can see that in the wind shift. We can see southerlies and then northerlies. Here's our boundary right in here. So mostly 60-degree dew points, maybe some isolated 70s. But the moisture stays even after the storms roll through. Looking at our CAPE for today, the energy in the atmosphere, we can see a lot, 3,000, 3,500 to 4,000 in some spots. I'm going to take a sounding here. Yeah, we can see we don't have a lot of shear in the first kilometer, but in this specific point, we do have surface to 3 kilometer shear. Very steep lapse rates, but our LCLs are extremely high, up at over 2,000. Over 2 kilometers, which is not conducive for tornadoes. So I don't think today is really a tornado threat. Also, you can see our shear is very weak, 4 to 27 knots of shear. But we do have helicity, some helicity. Not in the first kilometer, but we do have some helicity. Sorry, that is my email. But our decapes are extremely high at 1700. We do have a dry layer up at about 500 millibars. And we can see our cape stays, dies off when the storms move through. Going back to reflectivity, I just want to take a sounding out ahead of these storms. Yes, severe is our threat. Shear is not great. Helicity is good in surface to 3. LCLs are extremely high, very steep lapse rates, close to 10 Celsius per kilometer, which is extremely high. We have high decape at 1750, strong winds due to this dry layer. And we can see our downdraft temperature is 57 degrees, which is extremely cold for downdrafts, which is going to create problems for outflow boundaries. I'm going to take one right where these might intersect in a few hours. 1400 decape, 59 degree downdraft temperature. No, very little shear. Lapse rates aren't as good here, but they're still steep. LCLs are high. So, like I said, tornadoes aren't really a threat today. There's some capping, but not real. It's not really that bad. Yeah, capping isn't really that bad where the storms will be forming. Looking at what's forcing for today, we don't really have a low-level. Actually, it increases towards the night up to 25, 30 knots. 700 going up to 700 millibars. Oops. There isn't really strong winds at 700 millibars, and at 500 millibars, not a lot. Not a lot at 500 millibars. Now, if we go back to the Storm Prediction Center, the handy mesoscale analysis that I like to use. Looking at surface observations right now, we can see 60s and 70 dew points over here, 60s, and then we get into the 50s. So our dry line's right in here. I guess there's dry lines like right in here maybe, and then maybe even coming back this way. Maybe this is where our boundary is, and our dry line extends up that way. But we can see that ongoing thunderstorm complex right now in Oklahoma and Kansas. The cape is already building in, and right now we do, like we saw in the ARRR model, there is some capping back in western Texas, but that will start to dissolve as the day goes on. And cape, according to the RAP model, will get up to 5,500 joules per kilogram by the border of Texas and Oklahoma. Storms start to fire in about 6 hours, according to the RAP, 4 to 6 hours. No, and I did not look at the supercell composite, just in case. I don't think we are going to be seeing supercells today, but supercell composite is up there at 13 in this area. Let's just take a look at the sounding. LCLs are high. Significant hail looks like a big threat today. Not a lot of shear, D-capes high, downdraft temperatures low, steep lapse rates in the low levels, and the mid-level dry air coming in for that D-cape. The RAP is showing areas of enhanced supercell composite, but that doesn't mean we will get supercells. Bulk shear surface to 1. Not a lot, 20. As of right now, you can't really go ahead with that. Surface to 3. Not a lot either. Looking at helicity really quickly. Surface to 3, there's not a lot right now. And surface to 1, not a lot either. You can see where our downdraft cape is. It's a lot. It's large, up to 1,500, 1,600, 1,700 in a lot of areas. Significant hail. That number does increase up to 2 in central Texas, central western Texas. I do expect some large hail, maybe even 2 inches in diameter for today. But that is it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe and turn on those post notifications so you never miss a new video. See you all tomorrow.